Clark, mayambe, nanguluka nyo am, Max, Mapinti, Akabu Direct, wala kuluka nyo am, Matalo Bola, Direct Mapinti, Orange Naman, Likasu, Hip-Hop League, Shampopo, Shambisi, oh, it was fire!
Okay, Andrew, the team's out, 6-2 split, first impressions.
First impression, when I looked at it, I thought the pack looks a little bit light for me in the back three.
Yep.
Peter Stephen, Sia, yes, you're dropping off, 20 kgs, 15 kgs with Kwacha. And if you think about our traditional strength, it's about going and beating up a team with size and power. Now, I'm not saying Kwacha's not powerful. Yes, he is, but he's much less intimidating than Dwayne Vermeulen carrying the ball up out of the 22 when you kick it into it. Although I don't think you're allowed to kick it into the 22 anymore. Not sure if those new rules apply to this test match. But
they do, I think.
That was my first impression of the pack and the back line. It's what I thought it would be. So I'll leave that there because I'm going to come back to. The more I thought about it over the last couple of hours, I kind of have a theory on where we're going and what Rassies trying to do. So, what did you think?
First impressions was he's gone. You could see a lot of experience in the starting 15. I looked for the split. I think we've all got in that habit first of quickly scanning the bench, seeing the 6-2 split, and you think, okay, he's loaded that first 15. I thought. The one name that struck was, conspicuous by its absence is Ifan Roos. I just thought it was a given he had started 8 and Kwaka would come on second half. So I was quite surprised with that. I've got some questions about that in terms of where on earth does that leave him now? But and then I thought I was slightly disappointed because I quite like, I've spoken about this before, I like Ox, Bongi and Trevor Nikone to start or come on just because they're all the same sort of height and they offer something different. But obviously with Kitsy gone, there's an imbalance there, isn't there? And so the backs were completely as I thought they would be. Exactly. I think we both.
What do you make it Marnie not being in the squad?
I didn't think he'd play. I think Rassie really wants to win this game, so he's tightening the ship. And Marnie's too loose with his kicks. That's at the end of the day. Sure.
You and I both had a 6-2 split last week that we chose for this game. And I think we both chose Sasha. You chose Sasha too, didn't you? Because he can cover 10, 12 wing and full back, which I watched the press conference and Rassie actually got asked why not Marnie, why Sasha, and he said exactly that. He said because he can cover multiple positions. He says if we have Marnie and something happens, I have to bring Marnie on. I have to move Andre to 12. Marnie can only come in as a 10, whereas Sasha has got more flexibility.
Yeah, I get that. When I first impression is looking at the first 15, I think okay, that's a strong starting test team. The bench, to me, doesn't have that wow factor. I think there's a few questions there with the bench. It's not normally we look at our bench and go, we start laughing, don't we? Going, wow, imagine these eights coming on. So, and that's partly with the front row. I mean, you've got, I was expecting Trevor to be in the squad, and you've got Steenekamp now in. So you've got someone who's very untested in the front row there at this level. And Sasha, considering all the hype, he's untested. At the highest level, he's untested. So I'm just worried about a tiny bit of lack of cohesion and being untested. But with the others, I mean, and Murat, I don't rate. I actually don't think he's an international quality player. So
what?
I'm there to be proven wrong, and no doubt he'll be man of the match on Saturday.
He'll probably take conversions.
There we go, and I'll be back in my box.
He proved me wrong. So I've actively watched him, and he's actually a really hard, good player. And he's also the captain of the Stormers, eh? Remember that. He's the natural captain of the Stormers. So when he plays, he's captain. Netlak Vashia was only the captain while he was out. So for so many people to have the same opinion of him being a really good player, a really good leader, I think he's beneficial to the team. So I'm glad to see him there. What Rassie did mention as well was that John Klein wasn't available to be selected.
Yeah.
And I think Trevor's carrying a niggle. So I think he potentially would have got in. I think I had the same thought as you. Steenekamp, he's not proven, but he did a job. He was against Porter. Yeah, he was against Porter. He took Porter to the cleaners, so I think that probably won him a position. Yeah. And interestingly, today I was listening to a podcast with Bernard Jackman, and he was being asked, so don't you think, is it a big worry about the Springboks before this team had been announced? Is it a worry that the Springbok front row will take us, to the cleaners? And he said, no, I don't think so. He said, because I think the Bulls front row are better than the Springbok front row. So it's interesting that Steenekamp's been brought in here, which I think won't make Porter feel very comfortable. Like you said, Marat, I do rate. I do really rate. And Feinberg, again, I always like that element of like youthful exuberance, having somebody like that in the team that can actually show the enjoyment of the game. So I don't know if have you ever read Jake's book, Black and White, where
above me now, Andrew, signed.
not the Bible. It's Jake's book. Anyway, he writes about Francois Steyn when, on the day of the Rugby World Cup final, where he said, we were going down just to do a bit of a walkthrough and, loosen up the players. And he said the guys were sitting there with their headphones on the bus. There was not one word being said. And he said, I could see the tension etched on their faces. And he said, when we got off the bus, Francois Steyn had balls and he's kicking them up and down and he's running around and joking. And some guy had a dog and playing around. And he said, you just needed that in the team. It's that youthful exuberance that I think somebody like that will just remind everybody, this is why we do it. This is how happy we make people to be here. So I like his inclusion. And, I think he's quality. I think he's it's a lot to live up to. And I don't want to put all the pressure on him, but I think he's got it. And I think he's got it in spades.
He's certainly got a lot of hype at the moment. Just on noticeable absences, we've spoken about Trevor already. Roos, who's probably maybe the biggest one, I don't know. But Marnie, Mapimpi not making it again, and Am.
Yeah, again.
Who'd have thought Am wouldn't even be in the squad?
Rassie spoke to that. He got questioned. He got questioned about it, and he said, so we've had two players coming back off the injuries, and he said, we can't even get Am doing what Malcolm Marx has been doing for 2 weeks. So he says he's not at that level to even bring into a game, and he says he's nowhere near the level of bringing him into a game against Ireland. So he said we were lucky and fortunate with where Marx was. The Wales game gave us a bit more opportunity, told us, yes, he can play, and he's been proving, to hit all the levels required to play against Ireland. So it's an injury discussion.
Okay, gosh, a lot of injuries there. A lot of people out.
We both picked Jesse Creel in our starting lineup last week. Why is Am an omission for you? Because Am wouldn't be an inclusion if it was a 6-2 split.
I think what I should have said was if we'd have had this conversation this time last year that Am wouldn't be starting for the Springboks or even on the bench, we'd have been what? We'd have been almost disbelief. But I think not only because of his attacking prowess, but his defensive duties and almost vice captain like material. But I think the credit has to go to Jesse Creel, doesn't it? For having one of the players of the World Cup from any team. Yeah. And how can you drop him? How can you drop Jesse Creel?
Well, I don't think Am just comes straight in. I think Jesse is number one, and I think Am's got to prove that he's playing better in terms of form to get above him again. So we've got a long season, and I think they can both play a part. But it does the back line guys miss out a lot more when we play the 6-2 split, obviously, because he's a player less.
Yeah.
So what it does gives you more game time, but the other side of it is you don't even make the squad. Yeah.
And are they relying on Cocker to play the whole 80?
I think so.
And what if he gets injured?
Who, Quacker?
Yeah.
Well, Franco can move to 8. And Marco's played 8 too. Van Staden.
Has he? Van Staden. He's also a bit of a fetcher, also, him, isn't he? He's quite good on the ground.
He's also a hooker, apparently.
Maybe he could play hooker and Marks could go 8. I've got this theory Marks would be an awesome 8.
But so Marks was an 8.
I remember you saying.
Oh. Yeah. No, he could definitely do a job at 8. It wouldn't be beyond Rassie doing something like that if required. I think Marks, you could play at 8 for half a game. It wouldn't be you wouldn't lose anything.
I'd love to see that. I'm sure he'd be really dynamic.
Well, I think Marks would be better as a 6 than an 8. But I think we've got the cover there. Like I said, I would have liked another 15 kgs of beef on Quacha.
Yeah, it's small, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, Khaleesi and him, that's not the biggest or the heaviest. But they pack a punch. I mean, Quacha packs way above his weight.
Tenacious. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's quite clear now that we talk about it what Rassie's going to do here. He's trying to slow this game down.
Yeah.
Game will be won and lost for Ireland at the breakdown. We I think, are a little bit different. I think we need to boss it at the breakdown, but our transitions are good. Like, that's where we score.
Now look on your arm. Marks, Mapinti. I can't put your legs. Well, look on your arm. Marcelo Bola. Direct Mapinti. Orange Naman. Lekasu. Hipapli. Shapopo. Shambisi. Oh, it was Fire.